Okay, so I think that the first time we got to know you was when MTV started playing Smooth Criminal. I think this was before MTV 20th years special. That was quite a while ago. So, can you please tell us about those times when MTV started to put in this video everywhere?
Well, it was a roller coaster ride for us because we were this garage band from Riverside, California, and we, even though we had played or with bands like Korn and Deftones, and played with bands that were, got big, Incubus, bands System of a Down. We got to play with a lot of these bands and kind of came up with these bands, and they were making it big and seeing huge success. We didn't really experience much of that stuff. We mostly played clubs, and we ended up friending Papa Roach, and they got a lot of success with you know uh, Last Resort.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember that.
once they got a lot of success with Last Resort, they convinced DreamWorks to sign us. So, and for us, everything went real rapid. Like we went from getting signed to a really nice like big contract, and going into an amazing studio, working with an amazing producer, and I mean, once we were done with that, like we went from getting into a bus right away before we even like proved ourselves as a touring band. Even though we've been touring for years and went overseas in Europe and stuff and played already, we just weren't on that level where a company would give you a budget to where you can get a bus and stuff. So we went from you know touring in vans and in the worst conditions to like a bus, and then flying on a private jet to go do a video shoot, and then flying out first class to go meet up on the Lincoln Park tour. So we just got thrusted into that world. I mean, we were very lucky, very fortunate. And we released movies first, and it did okay. We weren't doing too bad with it. K Rock New York got a hold of Smooth Criminal, and it just blew up. And the roller coaster ride started, and it was like doing interviews all day long, every day, and photo shoots, and going to all these places on tour, and doing morning shows, and all kinds of things. We were like everywhere. I think it was 15 months we went out straight and had only been home like in our houses maybe a handful of times in that amount of time. And it was really just a roller coaster ride of just you know the label and everybody going, oh, this is really hot right now, let's put them out everywhere, let's make them work as much as possible, do all kinds of crazy things to keep the money machine rolling and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
no.
So it was uh it was surreal, and it happened really fast, and I mean it was overnight, but at the same time we got into a bus wreck, and it all came to a screeching halt after the bus wreck, and we lost it probably just as bad as fast as we got it. And I think by the time we healed and try to write a record and get out there and do the next record, like it seemed as if the record label had already moved on and went on to their new projects and kind of
Yeah,
forgot about
no.
us,
I
and
remember
which
the
was
time.
too bad.
I remember that one time when you had the accident with the
It
bus.
was it was a hard time.
Hmm.
Dryden, our singer, he broke his neck, and our
Oh,
guitar player like broke his ankle, and you know it took a while to get back to where we were normal again, and we lost our bus driver, so that was kind of
yeah.
heavy, and we had to go into lawsuits and all this stuff because we basically just had our career just pulled away from us, and it wasn't our fault at all. We didn't do anything except for do what we were supposed to do, and it totally altered our lives, our careers, everything. Like everything kind of, I think a lot of problems like with abuse problems,
Yeah.
substance abuse problems, and and the I guess like where the band stopped getting along and all this stuff. A lot of that stems from being in that accident and the damage that it caused, not only personally but physically to members and stuff. And it's just it's unfortunate that it happened. And in one respect, like it gives you a new outlook on life, and wants makes you want to be positive and do nice things and not have grudges with people and all that stuff. But on the other side, you have people that have like permanent nerve damage and they'll never be the same. And I don't know if that has anything to do with like the kind of like you don't know what I have to go through, and
Yeah,
I
no.
should be compensated for this, or like you should have been there for me at this moment, or whatever. If that causes ill feelings and all that stuff, but I
Yeah.
definitely say, or just substance abuse and distancing yourself from other members because you want to get rid of the pain, and creating a problem. Like I think a lot of that stemmed from the bus accident, which
What?
ultimately had, you know, breakups and
Mhm.
band members wanting to go do other things and that stuff.
What can you remember about the night of the accident? Actually, I don't remember if it was a night or if it was during the day. But what can you remember?
Yeah, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning in Spain, and it was. I remember everything about the night. I was playing video games with our bodyguard, and my girlfriend at the time called me, and I was like, "Hey, I'm done playing. I'm gonna go upstairs and talk to on the phone to my girlfriend because I think she just got up or was starting her day or something like that, or
Mm.
or called me in the middle of the day before I go to bed. I can't remember what it was, but I got in the bunk to just talk to her, and I think we were on the phone for maybe 10 minutes when we hit a semi trailer that was packed full of that was parked off to the side, packed full of magazines. So it was like hitting a brick wall, maybe even harder. I don't know because there wasn't much give, but and we hit it going probably about 70 miles per hour.
Okay.
And they said the bus driver got distracted, like he was reaching for a bag of chips or something like that, or a drink, and just accidentally swerved to the side of the road, like off the road, and hit this trailer that was just a guy sleeping on the side of the road in his, in his truck. So we hit that. Lost all power. Obviously, there was like parts of the roof that was open. You could hear people kind of screaming, and not screaming like bloody murder, but
Yeah.
like moaning and stuff. Oh, you can tell someone was hurt. Mike, our drummer, flew from the back lounge, and I was up in the front. Like my bunk was in the front, and he flew and landed right next to me. And my like bunk, the I was laying on my bed on my back, and my feet went through the front uh barrier because we had a second driver that was in front of us, and my feet went through that, and I cut the other bus driver's head open. So I cut his head open, but at the same time, the mattress, like that happened, but the mattress that I was laying on ended up on top of me. So, and I was scrunched down to the bottom of my bunk with the mattress like flew up on top of me. So that was a weird thing. I think, well, the first impact, like my feet went through the wood.
Hmm.
Well, not all the way through the wood, like completely went through the wood, but I broke the wood. And I think like I that was the initial impact, and I don't know if it was like the
Yeah.
shockwave back or whatever from going forward, and I think that's when that thing came over. So it was kind of like a two motion thing. It was like when you see a crash test dummy, how they go forward and then they flash back. I think it was that. Like I went forward, and then when I came back, the mattress flew over me. So it didn't protect me. I think being in the bunk is what protected me. If I had been like where Mike was, I would have flown across, or could have went through the windshield. Mike, I think, was fortunate enough that he was far enough in the back of the bus that he didn't go through the front lounge windshield, and that when he actually ended up landing, he landed right next to me in the bunk alley, that like the walkway. He landed next to me, and I was the second bunk from the very front of the bus. So I think Mike was very fortunate, very lucky, because he just got out of there with like scrapes and bruises and stuff. And but I remember like I used my phone, and it wasn't like a smartphone. It was like a regular dial-up phone that had
Yeah.
like green buttons on it and no like computer screen. And because this was 2002, this was May 2002, and I was using that as a flashlight to see where everyone was because everything was pitch black, pitch dark. And I found Mike, and I'm like, Mike, he reached up. He's like, yeah, yeah, hold on, like, are you okay? And he's like, hold on, let me figure this out. Mike was right next to me, and I mean, we hit so it was like a bomb went off in the bus. So of course you knew that you're hoping that someone's not going to die, but you're thinking the whole time, dude, there's something like immediately when I thought of the bus driver, I was like, there's no way that he's okay right now. If he survives this is going to be crazy. But I knew Mike and Dryden were up because I just went to sleep and they were in the back. Oh, I just went to my bunk and they were in the back lounge. I knew everybody else was sleeping except for our security guard that was downstairs playing video games and our bus driver. So I came across Mike. He was like, I think I'm okay. I'm using my phone as a flashlight. My girlfriend calls. I go, we were just in a bus accident. I'm okay. I gotta go. Yeah, I got to see where everyone else is. So we grab them the phones and we're going through everybody saying, are you all right? What's going on? Are you okay? And they were all, oh man, my legs are gone. This guy, the bus driver is like, well, my head's bleeding. The second bus driver, not the one driving the bus at the time.
Yeah.
We had two bus drivers because we had to do a long drive from like I can't remember, but we were going to Portugal, and we were coming from God, I can't remember, Luxembourg or something like that. We were going from Luxembourg to Portugal, and we had to have two bus drivers to make the drive. So the guy that started the first drive was the one that was sleeping in the bunk in front of me, and our bus driver that passed away was actually the bus driver that was on tour with us, and he was only about 2.5 hours into his drive. So I saw Mike, and then we got up and we started asking everybody, like, "Are you okay? What's happening?" Oh, I think my back's broke. Oh, I definitely broke my leg. Oh, my ankle's broke. And then I got to Dryden, and Dryden was laying in like so the bus bunk area was all outlined with like that uh, diamond plated steel stuff,
Yeah.
and his neck was on a step
Oh.
down of it, and that's where it broke.
Oh my
And
God.
when I came up
Sorry.
to him, I asked him, "Are you okay?" And he said, I can't feel anything. Like I can't move, I can't feel anything.
Oh my
And
God.
then he started saying, I'm really scared. And we started seeing like, blood was coming out of his
Here.
his 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 face or his head or whatever. So we didn't know what to do. And I was just like, "Can you breathe?" And he said, "Yeah." I go, "Okay, well just sit there and breathe. Like we gotta figure this out. We gotta see how we're gonna get help and all that stuff."
What did you do? Did
You
you
know,
call? Did,
went
did you call
downstairs.
911?
I think the truck driver that we hit was the one that called. And here we're in Spain, like deep enough in Spain to where no one spoke English. And even though our we all know a little bit of Spanish because we're from Southern California,
Yeah.
where it's spoken very fluently here, but we're trying to get through, but we didn't know what to call or who to call or anything. But the other guy said, "Okay, I called paramedics, whatever," and they ended up showing up about 45 minutes later because because we were way out there. Like we weren't close to any city. They came like 45 minutes later. And the crazy thing was is that we were trying to get everyone out of the bus, and we were grabbing all of our luggage and whatever we could find, blankets, whatever in the bus, and we're trying to make a bed so we can pull people out of the bus and help them walk them off. Some of us who can still walk, Um, and we were laying them outside on the bags and stuff so they can be outside in case of the thing caught on fire or whatever. Which we found out later that none of the fire extinguishers that were on the bus were actually loaded, so that's a good thing that it didn't catch fire. But once we started getting everybody out of the bus, it started raining.
Oh,
So
just like in a
it's like
movie, bro, a
here we
horror one.
are in the middle of nowhere in Spain. Yeah, it's exactly what it was like. It's totally like a horror film. It was terrible. But anyways, they ended up showing up. They got Dryden out. They had to like put all this inflatable stuff around him. They got our security guy out, which was his face was like this big because of his face hit the television and he broke the television. And it was an old tube television. This is before they
Yes,
had flat
I know.
whatever televisions. These were tube televisions. So he broke that with his face, and they said if he um if he wasn't so muscular, like, and he wasn't so built up in his like collar shoulders area, that he probably would have got decapitated from that impact. But since he like tensed up, that it like his muscle or his just his body strength or whatever actually saved him. But he had to have complete facial reconstruction. They didn't think he was going to live, but he ended up living. Um, and I think he's doing okay now. I mean, you can still see the scars and everything from his face, and
So are
it's
you still
really
in contact
upsetting
with him?
that that happened to him. But yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while, but we still go back and forth like Facebook and stuff like that. I know Dryden talks to him more, and Dryden went out and visited him in Czech Republic and did all that. But yeah, we're still kind of in contact with everybody that was in the wreck. We're still in contact with, but it's faded over the years. Like over the years, we see each other very little or talk to each other very little.
All right.